Hello, good evening. Welcome everyone to our virtual Sherry Bar on this fourth Sherry o'clock evening. Well, as you know, since we cannot be all together like every year, at least we can share a good glass of wine to celebrate such special days for all sherry lovers in this seventh edition of the International Sherry Week. Well, this evening, we will have the pleasure of speaking a little bit more in depth about the fascinating cream sherry, which is one of the sherry wines which conquered the world, being one of the most sold worldwide. So today we will pay tribute to a charming and seductive wine, a wine with history, but more importantly, a key part of sherry world's fame. It is fair to say that cream embraces the essence of sherry as part of its DNA. Just think about this. How many deeply rooted wines might flaunt about being part of a foreign culture for so many centuries? In the memory of many generations of the British, sharing a glass of cream sherry is part of their family traditions. Keep in mind that historically, since the Victorian times, the best sherries were the ones that were sweetened before bottling. I would like to point out that to our audience that this is a very unique wine. In fact, it is an exquisite selection of wines to reach the perfect blend, mainly Oloroso San Pedro Jimenez, mixed in the right proportion. So the result is a velvety, smooth, gentle palate. So maybe, and just maybe, in these very difficult times we are suffering, cream could be the right recipe to brighten our days. Why not? Well, to enlighten our knowledge about this sherry treasure, we will learn from the professional experience of Macarena Martinez from Spain, Daryl Haldane, and Annie B from the UK. So very well, I hope you all have the time. You'll have a glass of cream ready to share with us. If not, you still have a moment to grab your preferred drop while we connect with our first guest, Macarena Martinez.
Hi, Carmen.
Hello, Macarena. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Can you see me properly?
Yes, perfectly, in fact.
Good.
Well, let me introduce you to the audience. Macarena, who joins us tonight from Madrid. She has a master's degree in advertising and PR and a strong background promoting Spanish wine in the UK. She's the brand ambassador for Harvey's Bristol Cream, one of the main brands of cream in the market. Well, so welcome, Macarena, to this Sherry O'Clock Cream edition. We couldn't think of anyone more appropriate to join us to talk about cream. Please let me guess what you are drinking.
What I have on my glass.
What is that?
What I have in my glass is a Harvey's Bristol Cream with some ice and a slice of orange.
Oh, that's a very...
I have also treated myself with some olives from Andalusia to go with it and to celebrate with you and with everyone who is watching us the Sherry Week.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, happy Sherry Week to you as well. Well, do you remember the first time you taste a sherry cream, a cream?
Actually, yes, I do. It was funny enough. The first time I tried, it wasn't in Spain. nor in Jerez. It was actually in England. Some time ago, I used to have a boss working in the wine industry. I used to have a boss British guy who would say that sherry in England was mainly for old ladies. All the time. So anytime he would say that, I was laughing. I was laughing a lot. So one day he took me and he said, "Well, Maca, I know that you are a young lady, but you need to try some sherry." So he took me to a bar in London, and he invited me for a glass of Bristol cream, and he said, "Well, this is it's time you trying this wine. It's one of the most famous in England." And after that, he just said, "And now you are a grown-up lady." So
British lady,
I
in
wasn't
fact.
very, yeah, I wasn't very happy about that, but I was glad that I had the chance to taste it, and
So
here I
it
am
was
now.
like sharing a British tradition.
Yeah, of course, definitely. But I don't know why in his mind it's always related to mature woman.
Yes. Well, the fact is that cream is obviously it's an English word.
Yes.
Can you enlighten us on how the name cream came to be?
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. To understand the origin of the word cream, Carmen, let me explain you a bit of the history of the brand, because it's of course is related. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Harvest is nowadays one of the oldest wineries that we have in Jerez, and the story brings us back to a gentleman called John Harvest, who was wine merchant trading wines from Jerez to the port of Bristol. He started doing that in the 1795. Okay, so in that context, at that time in England, the consumption of sherry wine was really big, and there was
Mm-hmm.
a specific wine called Bristol milk, also known as sherry milk. And then you say, why milk? You know, to refers to a wine. It's a bit weird. It's a bit strange. And apparently, that wine was very rich in nutrients, and it was given to pregnant ladies to breastfeed their babies, and also given to young kids to grow healthy and to have good teeth, actually. So said that one day John Harvest was in his cellars with his brother, and they invited an aristocrat, a friend of them who was a regular customer, to have a Bristol milk. Okay, so she was there in the cellar, and then they were working on a new blend, and they say, okay, now that you're here, would you like to try this new blend that we're working on? And she said, yes, I would be delighted to, as the English said, I would be delighted to. And she did, she tried, and when she tasted, she loved it, and she acclaimed, wow, if this is the milk, this must be the cream. So
Wow.
after that, it's a nice story, actually. It's really nice story. And after that, the wine got very famous, and people started to use the word cream to refers to this style of wine. Okay.
What a story. Thank you very much. Talking about the blue
So
bottle, the very iconic bottle, Harvey's Bristol Cream blue bottle. Can you tell us a bit about this very special design?
yeah, so here I have one. It's a really nice eye-catching bottle. So the story, it's very iconic for us now. Everyone would recognize this wine because of the blue glass. Okay, historically at the beginning it was just a standard wine bottle, like it can be brownish, a greenish bottle. But I think it was in the 1980, because of the relation with the origin of the brand in Bristol. we wanted to link that with the origin of the city. And back in the time, Bristol was very famous for crystal making and glass making. And the most famous glass was a cobalt blue called royal blue. So we wanted to do the link with Bristol. 30 years ago now, or over 30 years ago, we changed the bottle into this nice blue bottle that is very easy, recognizable.
Yes, we can see it in many movies and many on TV. It's very iconic. Yes, and tell us, Macarena,
it's a nice
how?
bottle.
Sorry, I continue. Okay.
Sorry,
Well,
I cannot hear you properly now. It cuts a bit.
yes, you don't have a very stable connection. I think, but we keep we keep going if you don't mind. Okay.
Okay.
Well, Harvey's has the
Sure.
recognition of being official supplier of the British Royal House for more than a century. That's amazing. I mean, the winery definitely deserve a congratulation for this achievement. Can you tell us a bit more about this important issue?
Yeah, due to the success that the wine had over the years, in 1895, the Crown of England gave the royal warrant to the as suppliers to the Queen Victoria. And since then, over 100 years later, we still supplier to the Crown of England, and we're proud to say that we are the only sherry supplier to Her Majesty the Queen.
Well, not only,
which is a
but
symbol of obviously a symbol of quality and
of course, and also for more than 100 years. That's a real recognition.
yeah, over 100 years.
It's incredible. Being such a traditional brand, Macarena, how has the company modernized to the present times?
Well, I think the fact that I was mentioning before, the fact of changing the bottle is a good thing, because obviously it's completely different to everyone else. But also recently we have incorporated, I don't know if you can see it, but we have incorporated a new label on the bottle. It has thermocrite. I struggle to say that word in English. It's a label that changes the color. So basically, it gets blue. Harvey's letters get blue when the wine it's in the ideal temperature to serve, to be drunk, which is between 12 and 15 degrees. So that's a good thing of when it gets white to remind you that you need to put it in the fridge to chill it out and then to have it ready to drink it again. So that's
Definitely.
I think it's a good thing that we have done.
Sorry, the sound is
Say that again,
slow.
Carmen?
I said that it's a great tip for the consumer to know that sherry, this cream sherry has to be served cooled. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
sure. So the
Yes.
perfect serve for this wine, yes, I can, but I think there is a time lapse.
Well, don't worry.
I was saying that you can have this wine in many different ways, but an ideal serve is I'm drinking it now, is as a great aperitif, you know. So I think it's a new way of approaching a new consumer, younger public. You know, it's very easy drinking like that. It's fresh, it's fruity, it's sweet, but not that sweet. So it's a perfect cocktail. We're working with it into cocktail bars, so we're doing different cocktails. Actually, I have here a book with different recipes that we're working on. And we in Jerez we have a restaurant, our taperia in our wineries in the bodegas, and we have it there in few cocktails. So there is one that is called Bristol in Blue, made with some syrup, raspberries, and obviously the sherry. That it's so I invite you, Carmen, to pass by there and to try and to have one.
Well, we invite all our audience to visit your absolutely stunning bodega. It's one of the oldest in Jerez, and it's absolutely amazing. The architecture and, well, the beautiful sherries you have. Apart from Harvey's Bristol Cream, you've got the all the VORS, the very old rare sherries, which are absolutely top quality wines.
Yes, I agree with you. What can I say?
Well, Macarena, I'm afraid we've run out of time. We are going to continue to talk about cream and cocktails with our next guest, Daryl Haldane. So thank you very much. Enjoy Sherry Week and salud, Macarena.
Thank you to you.
Bye.
And happy Sherry Week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carmen.
A ver. Daryl, hello.
Hi, Carmen. How are you doing?
Very well. Where are you? Tell us.
I'm in Edinburgh today, so I'm over in Scotland. So it's a real pleasure to be joining you tonight over a few sherries.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you a bit to the audience. Daryl has worked in the drinks industry for over 12 years, where he first began his journey as a bartender in Scotland, where you are now. You have traveled all over the world sharing your knowledge regarding cocktails, and you have been a huge supporter of Sherry Week also since day one. Tell us, Daryl, what have you prepared for us?
Yeah, I mean, just to build on what Maca talked about, I'm a big fan of sherry, as you know, and I'm always trying my hardest to get new people to try sherry. And I think one of the things I find with Bristol Cream, and you mentioned something at the start, and you talked about it being charming and seductive, and it made me realize I need to be more like Harvey's Bristol Cream. If everyone described me like that, we'd be successful. Cheers. Yeah, and another word I think, and you also mentioned the combination of wines. So there's some Amontillado in here. There's some lovely Pedro Jimenez, some lovely sweet decadent wines in here as well. I think that makes Harvey's very versatile, because what you can do is you can serve it on ice with orange, as Maca has. You can serve it long, like a spritz, and that's a style of drink that's become very popular over the last maybe 8 years or so. And so what I'd like to do is maybe make two drinks. I'll make one spritz, and I'll make a martini style cocktail for you tonight as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect.
Great. So I don't know if you want to start with the preparation of the cocktails, or shall I ask some questions?
I will.
To you?
Let me just go with it, and then you can ask some questions as we go. So what we're going to do is build on the drink that Maca made, and just make it a little bit lighter and a little bit more refreshing. So lovely long serve, and still sticking to the wine style in the spritz. And I remember many years ago, I went to Venice about 15 years ago as a young bartender, and I was amazed to see this spritz style of cocktail being served. And the reason why I went to Venice was to go to Harry's Bar, which is the home of the Bellini cocktail. That's where it was invented many years ago. And I actually left forgetting why I went there. I went to Harry's, I had a Bellini, it was delicious. But the thing I took home with me was the spritz. And we started to serve it in the bar I was working in. But actually, the British public wasn't really interested in the spritz style of drink 15 years ago. But here we are 15 years later, and it's now, you know, in the top 10 style of cocktails in the UK. And I know in Spain, especially in Andalusia and the southern coast, yeah, worldwide, yeah, I agree completely. So that's what I think we're going to do now, is build on the body that Harvey's has. Because you have Pedro Jimenez wines in here, you have a lovely sweetness. And actually with soda, you don't need lemonade, you don't need tonic or anything like that, just a nice natural soda. You can lengthen this and it still has a lovely flavor profile and character. And it's a great way to enjoy Harvey's, because remember, you know, here in the UK, we usually would associate Bristol cream with the later months of the year, November and December. That's when most of the action happens here in the sherry industry. And I think actually we need to get the younger people, we need to get the earlier evening drinking occasions, and sherry needs to also become part of that. Not just for Fino and Manzanilla, where we have the aperitivo style, but also for Harvey's Bristol Cream, where we can also create aperitivo style drinks. So that's the first one for me, is the Harvey's Bristol Cream Spritz, and it's a lovely, refreshing way to enjoy this delicious wine.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Daryl.
I'll let you ask some questions if you want, if you have any.
Yes, of course. Well, I wanted to ask you, in fact, that after 12 years working in the drinks industry, you must have some great stories behind the bar, and maybe you can share one with us related to sherry.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite experiences is I have many with sherry, and I've traveled to Jerez on many occasions. My day job, if you like, is whiskey. I work in the whiskey industry, so I must have been to Jerez maybe 20 odd times and visiting your fabulous cooperages and your bodegas down there. And I have many friends down there as well, and it's a place I adore. And El Guitarrón is one bar I really adore, and a fabulous, fabulous place. But probably one of my best sherry memories is from La Venencia in Madrid. That's a fabulous, fabulous bar, and yeah, and I love the service, because I don't think you can pay with card, and they don't seem to have a till. Everything just gets written on the bar top in chalk, you know. And you know that I went there once many years ago with a good friend of mine called Barry.
In Jerez and in Andalusia, it was, you know, quite usual to do that. And for the audience to know, La Venencia is a sherry bar in Madrid, which only serve sherry, only sherry. Please continue.
The perfect bar. The perfect bar.
Yeah. Sherry freaks, yes.
Yeah. So that's one great memory there is in La Venencia. But I must say, I have a good friend, Martin Eber, who lives in Hong Kong, and I remember we were doing some work in whiskey, and we were over there, and we actually went to a sherry bar in Hong Kong, and I could not believe the range of sherries they had there, and the knowledge of the bartenders and the servers was so high. And I think with sherry, for me, it's the experience of tasting these fabulous wines from around the world that stick out as highlights. And I think it's the passion that people have for sherry when they find it and they want to explore it. Their willingness to share it is really, really sort of inspiring. So yeah, a little bit from Spain, a little bit from Hong Kong, and we have so much love for it here in the UK, as you know.
The good thing about sherry is that it's authentic. I mean, you don't have to invent a story behind it. It has a great story, so many as you want, and with you know, very deeply rooted. And so that's why it's so passionate, I think. Well, but being so traditional as a category, how is cream perceived by the new consumer, Daryl?
Yeah, this is it. I mean, I think the reality is that, you know, you have so many different ways of enjoying sherry, from Fino all the way through to PX and everything in between. There's so much you can do, and I think what's so fascinating about it is that you can mix it with great cocktails, you can pair it with fabulous food, you can have it as something simple and refreshing, but at the same time, you can also go to your Vors and you can sit and you can really study the intricacies of the wine. And sherry has all of these different things. Cream sherry itself, I think, again, it's the versatility that has probably the most interesting point here and what we can do with it. So sherry, cream sherry is growing. Sherry in general is growing in the UK. It's done very well in the lockdown through COVID situation. Sherry people have gone back to sherry, you know, but it's not just about people go back to sherry. We're actually bringing in new consumers to sherry as well, which is great to see. So I'm hoping that cream brings in new people, because what it will allow them to do is try sherry in a way that they didn't know existed. And that's what I'm going to do for you now is create a cocktail. So one of the other cocktails that is very popular here in the UK is the espresso martini. It would probably be number 3 or 4 in terms of ordered cocktails in the on-trade here in the UK. So that's a very popular cocktail. It's grown a lot of popularity in the last 10 years. It's always been there, but really in the last 3 or 4 years, it's become so popular. And it's also something that everybody can do at home. Most people have a good coffee machine now in their homes, you know, an espresso or a cafe, you know, whatever it is they need. They can do it here. So what I'm going to do is make an espresso martini, but I'm going to use Harvey's Bristol Cream as the base. And that's a great point, because flavor-wise, you have lovely sweetness. You have nice sort of caramel, almost slightly nutmeggy and spice notes coming through. So we're going to go for a nice large measure of Harvey's Bristol Cream. And I'm going to put in a touch of coffee liqueur, just to enhance the body and the sweetness that's coming through from the wines. So a little splash of the coffee liqueur. And then I prepared earlier, very organized of me, a nice shot of espresso, which is nice and tasty. It's quite full bodied. And I'm just going to pop that in here as well. And then I'll shake this up and pop it in a nice glass. And then what we have is a great cocktail, and one of the UK's favorite cocktails, which works so nicely with sherry, and another great way of introducing people to sherry in a way that maybe they wouldn't expect. So let's shake this up.
I have to admit that you have surprised me. You know, it's the first time that I've seen a cocktail with sherry and coffee.
Well, my memories of many bodega visits is one of the great memories for me is often the lunch. You know, when we have a great lunch in these bodegas, quite often what we'll do is we'll enjoy sherry with great food. And then after the lunch, what we'll do is we'll sit, have a coffee, and maybe have some lovely brandy de Jerez. And I really enjoy that combination, almost like a Carajillo kind of style. And actually, the cream sherry is perfect for this moment also. So this is actually more linked to my story and my experiences of Jerez, and a very lovely way of sort of paying tribute to the hospitality that I've experienced over the years in your wonderful bodegas down in the south of Spain. So there we go.
It seems an obvious link between the brandy and the coffee, but well, it's really insightful. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And it's very, very delicious. And it's the perfect time of day for a little pick-me-up, you know, a little bit of coffee and a little bit of sherry. And of course, as Maca said as well, some delicious olives from Andalusia. Slange.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, I think it's time, if you don't have any other idea to share, I think it's time to go to the next guest. Thank you very much. Thank you for showing us different ways of tasting Harvey's Bristol Cream. It has been amazing, a real pleasure. And well, hope you have a very nice week, Sherry Week.
Always. Salud. Enjoy. Have a great Sherry Week, everyone. Salud.
See you soon in Jerez.
I look forward to that.
Bye, Daryl. Well, and now we go to Annie B. Let's wait for Annie. Hello.
Hi, Carmen.
How are you?
I'm really good, thank you very much. How are you?
It's great to see you.
And you too. Oh my God. As soon as I finish with you, I'm off to make an espresso martini with Harvey's Bristol Cream.
That's a great idea.
Only if I have any left.
Well, let me introduce you to the audience, Annie, because, well, we know each other a long time ago. Yeah. Annie B, originally from Scotland, and settling in Andalusia since 2008. You are a certified sherry educator, passionate about food, wine, and Spanish culture. Annie runs a cooking classes and culinary tours in the south of Spain. That's very roughly. Tell us, where are you now, Annie?
Well, I'm actually in Scotland just now.
Wow.
So that's amazing that you've had two people from Scotland tonight. Yeah, I'm towards the end of my quarantine, so it's a perfect excuse to really enjoy Sherry Week.
Good, really
yeah.
well.
But actually, I haven't drunk all the sherry today because, as you know, I used it for making some sherry bread.
Oh, wow.
With
tell us a bit more about this famous sherry bread you have invented.
Well, I took the idea from a cooking school I went to in Corfu last year, and they served us bread made with red wine. They didn't show us how to make it, but I asked for the recipe and came back to Spain and thought, I'm going to try this with sherry, and didn't get the opportunity to do so until lockdown happened in March, and it was one of the first things I did. So it's absolutely delicious when made with cream sherry.
Oh, wow.
All sherries, in fact, but particularly cream, when you have something slightly tangy on it, like blue cheese, or actually I've got some partridge patty with it here. So
have you shared the recipe anywhere where we can just...
It is on my blog, my cobspain.com blog. You'll find it there.
Thank you, Annie.
I love any feedback if anyone makes it, because I'm not a bread maker. I haven't made any sourdough yet, and probably never will do. But if anyone does make it and they have any feedback, I'd be delighted.
That's great to know. Thank you. Annie, you are a sherry educator, and you were at the course in 2011.
Yeah.
Could you tell us how your experience changed? The experience in this course changed your perception of cream?
Well, yes, indeed. I was lucky enough to sit beside Beltran Domecq on the last night, our farewell dinner. And I thought, I'm just going to ask him which are his favorite brands of each type of sherry. And I said cream, and he said Harvey's Bristol cream. And this look came over my face. And he said, I've seen that look before. You're one of the disbelievers. But actually, it's a very fine sherry. And I thought, well, if that's what the sherry god is saying, I am going to drink, experiment, and appreciate Harvey's. And he's absolutely right. It is a very, very fine sherry.
Yes, a cream can be as fine as the wine used in the blend. I mean, a cream can have the top quality, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
You are an example of what I was trying to express in my introduction. I mean, you have experience. You are a perfect example of having sharing your family gatherings, your family memories, and
absolutely. The first ever wedding I went to, I must have been very little, and I can't even remember whose wedding it was, and every subsequent wedding I went to as a child in Scotland, there would be a tray of little schooners of cream sherry or little nips of whiskey, and that was your welcome drink. Also, both grandmothers were great sweet sherry drinkers, and my mother would make wonderful trifle using cream sherry. Yeah, and just to warm you up on a cold day if you're out on a shoot. It wasn't just always whiskey; it was sometimes sherry, sweet sherry, cream sherry.
Thank you for sharing that memories with us. And talking about gastronomy and food pairing, could you share some tips about pairing cream with some food?
Well, gosh, cream sherry for me works with something that's sweet and salty, like blue cheese and pears with a cream sherry, partridge patty with a little bit of red currant jelly and a cream sherry. If you're making a casserole, a wintry casserole of, say, beef with a bit of vanilla through it, fabulous with cream sherry. Duck on its own, maybe Amontillado, but duck with orange cream sherry, and a little bit of cream sherry in a gravy, in a juice to match anything is just lifts it onto a different level.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Any other idea you want to share with us tonight?
Put a little splash of cream sherry in your porridge in the morning in the wintry months.
Wow.
Especially if cream is
your day.
Especially if cream is great with coffee, so you can have your coffee in one hand and your porridge with cream sherry in the other.
That's energizing breakfast.
Actually, I've never tried that, but I'm going to tomorrow.
Well, we've got many homework today. Well, thank you very much. It has been a real pleasure to share with you your insightful testimony. I hope,
Carmen.
I hope all our audience have enjoyed the evening and the cream. Salud.
Salud.
And I just wanted to say goodbye. Please don't miss the closing Sherry O'Clock session with our president tomorrow at the same time with Cesar Saldaña and other very interesting guests analyzing the Fino. So have a great evening and salud to all of you. Salud, Dani.
Salud, Carmen.
Bye-bye.
Every week.
Thank you. Bye.